Recently, there has been a lot of talk and focus on AI and machine learning ethics. I think a lot of the conversation there is flawed because of unrecognized premises that are being taken here. So here is my take on what I think and what my opinion is about AI and machine learning ethics. The thing about AI and machine learning ethics on Saravji side. In recent months, there has been a lot of news and talk in regards to ethics in AI and ML. Many of these pieces written are opinions, demands, or requests more or less strongly worded to make AI fair and to include safeguards against bias or misuse into AI algorithms. In this post, I am going to focus on the ethics part of this conversation. These days, what is being touted and sold as AI are still machine learning algorithms. And fundamentally, any machine learning algorithm is an optimization method. Using data that is prepared and presented together with a corresponding result, the algorithm attempts to minimize or maximize a penalty function, a penalty calculation defined by a function. That's it. The magic in this whole lies in what and how the data is presented and what the penalty function is that is being used. By changing the penalty function, you can change the bias. By changing how the data is presented and prepared, you can introduce bias. But the algorithm or method in itself has no opinion and no understanding of the abstract concepts behind it or what it all means. Now, these pipelines are being built by humans, and the data and the penalty functions are being assessed and put together by humans. And everyone has biases simply because we are human. And every single human bias and preconception influences and skews decisions and opinions. That is simply what it is all the time and every time. And because of that, it is relatively easy that these skewednesses and opinions are influencing how the data is being prepared and presented to machine learning algorithms. And just to be clear, I do strongly agree that there needs to be an ethical responsibility when using these tools. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a hammer, a physics formula, or an ML algorithm. And I agree that there is a gap in the responsible use of ML algorithms. The thing is, these gaps can't be bridged by trying to vilify the algorithms. The responsibility lies with the user or designer of the ML pipeline and not with the algorithm. What also needs to be strongly considered is that it is a remarkable and constant human trait to misuse everything and to weaponize in one form or another anything. At the end of the day, if tainted or skewed data is presented to an algorithm, the algorithm does its thing with this skewed data. It optimizes for the skewness and does so beautifully and efficiently, and predicts with the skewness as a result. So, to put it short, the old saying still applies: garbage in, garbage out. I don't like to just point out problems. I like to look for solutions and present potentials for solutions and discuss those. So, how can we bridge this gap? First, we need diversity in the machine learning community. Reading job postings or job descriptions, they all read very similar. A master's in that, a PhD, nearly any kind of PhD is preferred, and several years of experience. This requirement right here, considering nothing else, is very problematic for multiple reasons. The main ethic group having a PhD are male, white. The main ethic group having several years of experience are male. I can totally understand and sympathize where this requirement is coming from. If you look at the skill set and educational background of current folks that are successful in this field, you find that many will have a master's degree or a PhD. The thing is that we are looking at survivor bias. A quick and abbreviated overview by an example of what survivor bias is. In World War II, the Air Force started losing a lot of aircraft. It was decided to study where the aircraft should get armor added to increase survivability of the crew. Surveying of the returning aircraft quickly did show a pattern of damage. The problem is, this is the wrong approach. You can't put armor where you observe the damage, because where there was extensive damage and the aircraft could return simply means that you can tolerate the damage in those areas. Where there is little or no damage on the returning aircraft is where you need to look. If few aircraft can make it back with damage in those areas, that is the problematic area. Now going back to the typical AI or machine learning practitioner. If the predominant group is male, white with a PhD or a master's, we need to complement these teams with different ethnicities, with females, with different cultures, nationalities, religious beliefs, and different educational backgrounds, especially including the self-thought as a complete contrapoint to a PhD. Because of the resulting mix, because of the variety, because of the differences, a common ground must be found and will be found. My second point is that there needs to be some form of an ethical codex in the machine learning and AI practitioner community. There have been several discussions in this regard over the past few years. Many use the Hippocratic Oath as a basis. I think this is too much skewed to preserving human life. In my opinion, we need something a little bit more universally applicable. What I found is the aircraft mechanics creed is tiered towards the responsibilities of this profession. So I merged these two, the Hippocratic Oath and the aircraft mechanics creed. And a third point, I also think that the machine learning community is not doing itself a favor by selling current machine learning as AI. There is no approach today that actually has a consciousness or can understand the abstract meaning of anything it looks at. And with looks, I don't mean visually look at it. If it just looks at data, it still looks at the data. Yes, there are algorithms that can recognize different animals and put labels to them, but it does not understand that these are animals, or living, or breathing, or what the concept of legs is. It's an algorithm that has learned to put a certain label on images or data that look the same. That's it. By overselling the current status of machine learning as artificial intelligence, an implication of an abstract understanding of concepts is being made that simply is not there. But this overselling and this implication creates an enormous expectation in the public eye, which in turn creates a lot of pressure to deliver. With pressure to deliver, it's easy to justify cutting corners and use what is available instead of use what is right. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for pushing the limits, exploring the unconventional, pressing forward, and I can't wait to see what ML looks like when it gets to the point that we need to ask if it is AI. The point I'm criticizing is how we as a society go about it at this time. We are doing the same things with the same folks over and over again and expect different results. I'm advocating to do things differently and, most of all, to include different folks. I appreciate you dropping by. Please subscribe. I'm done here. Fire to that.